Hello and welcome to Doom Does DVD, and this is Disney Classics number 4, Dumbo. At this point in this series, I'm starting to feel a bit like I'm repeating myself. This, like Snow White and Pinocchio, is a film I know I have seen in the past, but it's been so long since I've seen it that I basically have no memory of it except for, a flying elephant with big ears. And honestly, the only other things I can think about story related for this film are not actually from the animated version. They are things I picked up watching the trailer for the recent live action version. I haven't seen the full live action version, otherwise I would possibly have more memory of it, but it's probably different from the animated one anyway, although I have no idea by how much. The idea of all these live-action Disney films just hasn't really appealed to me yet. They all just seem a bit redundant. But compared to the other two fairy tales we've done so far, Snow White's been retold a lot, Pinocchio's been retold a little bit. Dumbo, I'm not even sure what the original source is for that story. It's certainly not one that crops up often, at least in things I pay attention to. Even the TV series Once Upon a Time, which shoehorned everything Disney in, I don't think ever got around to Dumbo, although I never did watch the last season. So I guess that only leaves me with one thing to do, is watch the film and refresh my memory as to what it's all about. Let's see. So, Dumbo. I thought it would be impossible for a film to have less story than Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but here we have Dumbo. I thought I couldn't remember very much about this film because the only thing I could remember was an elephant learning to fly with his big ears. But it turns out that's basically the only thing there is to remember. Most of it's just overly long snippets of life in the circus, and it takes half of the runtime to even get started with anything you could call a plot. And it's already super short, only an hour and 3 minutes. Everything about this one just feels kind of cheap. The animation style feels a lot more cartoony. Obviously they're all hand-drawn, but Snow White and Pinocchio have a more realistic movement style for their characters. Whereas here in Dumbo, there's a lot more exaggeration and caricature in the character's design, especially in things like the bouncy train jogging down the track. That, along with the shorter length, makes it feel more like a made for TV, not made for the big screen, which makes no sense for 1941, so what it really means is it was made on the cheap. And well, of course, this will probably have wowed kids back in 1941, but as an adult watching it in 2019, there's just not a lot to get from it. It's cheap and cheerful and fun, but there's not a lot of depth or anything particularly engaging. And so, unfortunately, it just comes across as sort of kind of mediocre filler. It's not terrible, but it's also not great either. And I'm afraid that's all I can really think of to say about Dumbo. Decidedly average. What are your thoughts? Did I miss something? Tell me about that in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week with Bambi.